Okay, let's start. Before going to the development part, we'll see that custom labels. It's a concept in Salesforce. Okay, and what is a custom label and how it will be working with Salesforce. Okay, the custom labels are the somewhere we can store the values and it will be in the cache. Okay, that custom labels can be used anywhere in the applications like as Visual Force pages, Apex classes, workflows, validation rules, process builders, approval process, wherever you want to do that, you can use that. And even in assignment rules, auto response rules, you can use these custom labels. Okay, let me give one example on this employee itself. Here it is. So whenever I select the department .NET Java Python, okay, if it is .NET or Java or Python, then I need to fire a validation rule. Okay, so in this case what we have to do is we have to use or and then is pick value of .NET or is pick value of Java or is pick value of Python. That we have to do. In future, I want to fire the validation rule for Salesforce as well. Okay, so then again I need to modify the validation rule. This. Let me write a validation rule to fire that whenever the okay whenever the department is .NET or Java or Python, then I need to fire a validation rule that uh, delivery manager is mandatory. Okay, in this case, let's write a validation rule. Okay, here and I'm using that is pick value. Is pick value of department. Okay, then here it is .NET. If it is .NET or if it is Java, okay, and is blank of delivery manager. Okay, so here if the department is .NET or the department is Java, then if the delivery manager is blank, then I have to fire the validation rule. Syntax is check the syntax. Okay, so there are no errors on the syntax, just put on the delivery manager and say that delivery manager is mandatory. Okay, just click on save. Now when you try to save a record, okay, I've given company selected, then so I have given the .NET, try to save, it throws the error message delivery manager is mandatory. So now what I have to do is I need to, even if it is Java also it will be same, right? If it is not Java, if it is Python, it will be saved, right? Because we have not added the validation rule for that. Okay, now I want to fire the validation rule even for Python. if Python is also selected as the department, then I need to fire the validation rule that university is mandatory. So what we have to do? We have to add one more condition here, like this, comma, and then again here it should be like Python, right? So if it is selected, then only try to save, throws the error message. Okay, so whenever I want to extend the validation rule for another pick list value, then so I'm going to validate, or I'm going to modify the validation rule each and every time. Okay, now I don't want to fire the validation for .NET. Then what I have to do? I have to edit this validation rule and need to remove this one, right? So instead of that, let it make it a dynamic. Okay, for that we have custom labels. Custom labels, here it is. Okay, so why we are using that this validation rule? So here the validation rule is to verify the delivery manager, right? And what are the values we are going to store? Pick list values. So the name like should be like this. On this employee object department, right? So the pick list name, I mean custom label name, employee departments. Okay, then validation. You can give like this. Okay, it takes like this. Okay, this is the API name. Now you just put wherever you are using this custom label. Use this validation rules. Okay, validation rules. Here, what are the values we have to store? So whenever we want to fire the validation rule for .NET, Java and Python, add them as the comma separated values. .NET, Java, comma Python. Okay, now save this. Now edit this. So instead of writing all this, first thing is whether we have to check that whether the delivery manager is blank or not. That's common point. Then we have to validate what is the pick list value, right? So now what I'm trying to do is, instead of all this code, we have a condition that contains. We have a function called contains. That's why I was asking to look into these functions. Contains. So what is the text we have to compare? We have to compare custom label. Here, label employee department label. And then what is the comparing text? Comparing text should be text of pick list value. So here what happens? Whatever the pick list values you have mentioned in this custom label, and if these values are selected in this department, then it checks for the delivery manager and fires the validation rule. Okay, first thing, contains means it takes the value from the custom label, and whatever the values mentioned in the custom label and the value selected in the department is matched with that. If it contains, then it throws the validation rule. Okay, just try that. Edit, try to save, throws the error message. Okay, now I just want to remove the validation rule for Python. Okay, in the previous case what we have to update? We have to update the validation rule. Now in this case nothing, just go to the custom label and remove whatever you want. Just save. Now try to save the record. Okay, so using custom label, you can store any type of values. So, but it will be in the format of string only. If you store the numbers as well here, it will be like a string only. Okay, so here, whatever the values you are storing here, that will be in the form of text only. Okay, so that's how we use the custom labels in this one. Even in the validation rules and sorry, in the workflows, approval process, wherever in the criterias, you can use these custom labels. Usually, these custom labels are used to hold some values, okay, some static values. Okay, so we will go through the custom labels later on the real-time scenarios. You don't need to worry. So as of now, just know about this validation. Okay, that's it. And the custom labels. Any doubts on these custom labels? We have a lot of other things as well, custom permissions and other things. So custom permissions we'll discuss once the development is complete on that, because we need functions on that, so that we need that. Okay, any questions on this? Even here you can use the translations. Okay, for this translation, if you have selected multi languages, okay, then for each and every language, what is the translation text you can mention here. So we discussed the translation workbench. Okay, using the translation workbench, you can use the custom labels with the different languages, and whenever you use these custom labels inside the Visualforce page, then these custom labels will be displaying in the text in the specified language. Here you have selected Telugu or some French or Chinese. You will be mentioning the text here. Okay, that will be available on the thing. Okay, so that's the custom labels. So we have development part or customization part. Okay, so just now we discussed previously the configuration related things, like as just point and click, giving names, writing the just small type of code like as functions and other things. Okay, but here the development will come into the picture using the customization. So we can call it customization or development. Okay, so what is customization? So customization means, if you see the page layout, any page layout, I will give an example that, okay, this page layout is there. So we can have only two columns here. On page layout, we can have maximum two columns. Okay, but I need to display these fields in three columns. Okay, or three columns or four columns, or in my desired way I need to display that. Okay, and then I need different sections or lines. Sections you can create anymore. And okay, so those type of something you can go for the development. And so the development contains two parts. One is Apex and two is one is Apex and two is Visualforce page. Visualforce. Okay, and Apex is like as Java and Visualforce like as HTML. Apex and HTML. Apex and Visualforce like as Java and HTML. Okay, so what is Apex? Anyone knows about Java? Who knows that? Java is an object-oriented programming language. Okay, we have different concepts on Java. The same way in Apex as well, Apex is also as an object-oriented programming language. This Apex works like as database scripts, stored procedures. If you know about the database stored procedures, then that works like as Apex. But here we don't need any stored procedures and other things. We'll just write this. And Java is case sensitive. Apex is not case sensitive. Okay, and let's discuss first Apex. Okay, and Apex is an object oriented programming language. Object oriented programming language, and Apex has a lot of OOPS concepts, and main of them we can have class, object, inheritance, let's say we can abstraction, inheritance, fifth concept, encapsulation, and sixth one is polymorphism. Okay, class, object, abstraction, inheritance, encapsulation, and polymorphism. So these are the mainly object-oriented programming language concepts. These are called as OOPS concepts. Okay, object-oriented programming language concepts. So before going into these, let's discuss some other thing. Okay, so whenever you are creating an object, okay, or whenever you are creating a field on the particular object, you need to select the data type, right? The first step is you need to select the data type. So first thing is select data type. So how you will be going to select the data type? So you know that what type of data you are going to store into that field. Based on that requirement, you are going to select the data type, right? So first thing is you need to decide which data type you are going to select, right? So we will be saying that okay, it's a text, it's a pick list, or it's a multi-select, or it's a lookup field or something else. Okay, so we have to select the data type first. Second one, we have to give the name as well, right? We have to give the name. Give the name to the, okay. Once you have give the name, you may give the default value as well, right? Optional default value. Okay, so first thing, we have to select the data type and give the name, then default value we have to select. Okay, if so default value is not a mandatory, you can give or you may ignore it, right? And let's see, so what are the different, yes, then same way we know that what are the different data types available in Salesforce, Sharif? Same way in Apex we have different data types. Data types in Apex. It means in Apex what are the data type you are going to declare for these things. For text we have string, okay, then pick list, multi-select, or phone, email, or any text area rich, everything is a text, a string it is. Or for text area long we have blob. Rich text, it allows the images and other things. Okay, again we have date for the date, and we have date time as well. You have to note down these data types, that would be better. Okay, string, blob, date time, integer, it's like as number, double, it's also a number. Okay, we have id type as well. id type, then object type, we have subject type, we have boolean as well. We have a checkbox, right? So for that it's a boolean. We have decimal, we have long and time. We have some other thing, some different data types, collection data types we have. So collection data types, list, set and map. Okay, and we have a subject, object and other things. These are the data types we have in Salesforce. Okay, so we know that how to declare a variable in Apex. So while creating a field, we have selected the data type and we have given a name and then default value if it is required. Okay, the same way, go to your name and click on developer console. Okay, click on developer console, it opens like this. This is called as developer console. Okay, you can write your own Apex code and execute. You can see the result here itself. Okay, just click on debug and open execute anonymous. I will explain other menus as well. For now it is okay. So how to write this code? We know that first thing we have to select the data type and we have to give the name, then we have to give the default value, right? Same way here in Apex as well. First what we have to do, we have to select the data type. Let's say I need number, then I have to select integer, and I have to give the name for that. Second option, age. Okay, then I may give the default value, or for now let it be here. This is the declaration of variable. Okay, how to declare the variable, and then if you want to display that, okay, so this won't be stored in the Salesforce just for our execution. We're just executing a program. Okay, now for this, if you want to display anything in the screen or something, if you want to see the results, you just click system, just put that system dot debug. This is like as a debug log. Okay, so previously we have seen that whenever we have executed some flows or workflows or something else, we have seen the debug logs, right? So we observe the debug logs and then we find that what is the execution, what was the thing like that. Okay, same way here, whatever you have put in the single quotes, that will be a message. Okay, age value is, you can give any value. Okay, so this will be printed by default. Let's show that. Here click on this open log. Okay, if you don't click on this, if you don't check this checkbox, if you execute that, this will be executed and you need to go to the logs section in this one. Here it is unread. Okay, click on this, it will be like this. This is the log, it is captured. Okay, click on debug and see that age value is, this is nothing is displayed here. Okay, for now control E, it means it opens the execute anonymous. Control E, or you can just go to the debug and then click on this. Okay, now I want to display the age value here. Okay, let's say that I want to display here. For that, you just put plus, and then type the variable name. It's a case insensitive. If you give age as capital letters, here if you put small letters or capital letters, that won't give any error. It will work fine. Okay. Click on open this open log and then click on this execute. Now here if you see that it's null. We know that if you don't give any value, it will be null, right? So that's why, right, we were checking that is null, is blank, we have the conditions. I mean, we have the functions, right? So let's say that string name. Why I'm taking the string? It's a text, right? Now I want to display string as well. Here plus, give the single quotes, give place space, and name is. So what happens is, whatever the message inside the single quotes will print automatically. Then when you put plus and give the name of the variable, it substitutes the value of this variable here. So it won't consider plus or something. What is the plus means? Concatenation. Concatenation means adding the message. Add this value after this message. Then plus. Okay, after printing this value, then put plus and then add this message as well. Again put plus and give the name. Okay, now what happens? First print this message, then it substitutes the age value here, and then it prints this message, then give the name. Okay, try to execute that. Here it is. Both are null. So default value is null. Okay, now here. So I have not given any default values here, right? So that's why it's taking default value as null. Okay, now I want some default value. While creating a field, you can give the default value, right? The same way, if you want to give any default value, you just need to give equals and then put something. Now the age value, default value is 20. Okay, later on that, put on this. As it is a string, you need to put in the single quotes. If it is a string or text area, okay, then you should put them in the single quotes. Okay, name age welcome. Okay, now click on execute. Here it is. Age value is 20, name is welcome. Whatever the value we have given, that's this. Okay, this is how we have to give the default values to the variables, and now how we have to declare the variables. Okay, the same way, let's say if I am going to give the value age is 30. Okay, once the field is declared with the data type, then you don't need to declare and again and again. Okay, it won't give the, it will give the error. It won't allow that. Okay, once you declare, then you can use any variation. However, you are going to create a field in the object and you can use it, right? Whether it is in validation rules or workflows, wherever it is, you can use it. The same way, you are declaring the variable here, then inside this program, wherever you have created this variable can be used here. Now, what will be the value in this age? What it will be print here? 20 or 30? Will be 30 only, because you have given 20 as the default value. Later on that you have overridden the value, so that the value will be 30. Even you have name is welcome, and I have given the name here. Name is some test. And what is the value of name here? Okay. And what will be printed in the first statement, first debug statement? This is called as statements. Okay, every line it should be followed by semicolon. Okay, and that semicolon means termination of the sentence. Okay, semicolon is mandatory, and then once semicolon is ended, then it's called as a statement. Okay, so what will be the value of this statement? Okay, at line number 3, the value of age will be 20 and the value of name is welcome, because those are the default values, and before this statement we have not overridden those values. After this statement we have overridden the values. The default value is 20 of for the age, and the age is 30 now. We have overridden, and name is test. So at line number 6, the statement is same but values are different, so it is having 30 and test. Okay, execute this. You can say that at line number 3 it is printed, age value is 20, name is welcome. At line number 6, the age value is 30 and name is test. Okay, write down the syntax of the declaring the variable. Declaring a variable. And before going to that, what is a data type and what is a variable? You should understand that, right? We are saying that variable, variable, variable. And what's a variable? And we are saying that data type, data type. What is the data type? Okay. Data type is the type of data which we are going to store into that particular variable or field. Okay. In the object considerations, when you are creating a field, you have to select the data type, whether it is a number or currency, or whether it is a lookup or master detail, like that, right? The same way, then you are saying that we are going to store text into this field, so that you have selected the text data type. You are going to store some pick list values, so that you have selected the pick list. Okay, and here also, what is a data type? Data type is the type of data where we are going to store the type of data into the particular field or variable. Okay, type of data, that's all. Data type means type of data, whether it is a number or it is a text or it is a date or it is a date time or time, something like that. Okay, then what is a variable? A variable is a name, okay, where we are going to store some value into that. Okay, it's like as a address. Syntax of the variable. Declaring a variable, syntax is like this. First, you have to give the data type. I will explain later. Some declaration will be different. Data type, variable name equals to, then default value, semicolon. So the default value is optional. Okay, variable name is mandatory, then the default value is not mandatory. Okay, so example is integer age, or integer age equals to 20. You can give whatever you want. Got it? This is how it will be. Understand? So this is the declaring the variable. You have to learn the different data types. Just download this one, Apex Developer Guide. Go to the data types and the line number 25, and then understand that what is the data type and how the things will be getting stored in this one. Okay, and we have different operators. I'll explain something. Okay, so here, if you come to this statement back, here it is. We have given the equals, right? Why do we need equals? Why don't we give this like age 20, right? And why do we need equals? Yes, actually we have operators. Okay, And what is a operator? What do you mean by operator? Okay, operator is defined where we have to do some functions, I mean some operation. Okay, so we have different operators. We have different operators. You just note down them. Okay, first thing, variable and data type. You understand that, right? So then I have to see that operators. First one is assignment operators. Okay, second one, ternary operators. Then we have arithmetic operators. Then logical operators. We have some other operators also, but we will just see that all the operators in a bundle. Okay, so like as assignment operators. What is assignment? Okay, we know that assignment means we have to just need to assign a value to some different value. How we are going to assign that value into that? Okay, for that we have equals, plus equals, minus equals, then we have equals plus, then equals minus. These are called as assignment operators. Okay, first one equals, plus equals, minus equals, and equal plus and equal minus. Okay, even we have comparison operators. Comparison operators. Okay, these are assignment operators. We'll go ahead with one by one. Then ternary operators. It's like as what we can have is colon, then this one. Okay, I will give some example later on this. Third one, arithmetic operators. Arithmetic operators is nothing but plus, minus, star, multiplication, division, or modulo operator, like this. Okay, and even for we can use that star plus or something, we can use this combination of these operators. Mainly we have this. Okay, fourth one, logical operators, like as and, we can say it is and, just note down that what is this, or we have, so in the validation rules or something you can use and or, right? The same way in Apex we have and or, not, this is not. Okay, not. Then we have double equals to means equals. Equals, and then we can use not equals. Okay, not equals. These are some of the uh, operators. And fifth one, comparison, like as greater than or less than, or less than or equals to, or greater than, I mean less than or equals to, greater than or equals to. These are called as comparison operators. Okay, just note down them. Okay, and we know that here it is also equals operator and this is also equals operator. What is the difference between these two? Okay, this operator is a assignment operator. This is used to assign a value into this variable. Okay, let's say that before going to that, what is a variable, how it will be. Okay, to store some value, we should have some space, right? It should be, there should be some space to store some value. Okay, for that, what we can call it as, we can call this as a heap memory. Okay, this is different concept, you don't need to worry. Okay, so this is whole memory in Salesforce. Let's do that. Let's say this is a heap memory, whole memory RAM. Inside that we can have the heap. Okay, okay. Now what happens when you declare a variable? Let's say that I have given integer a. Okay, now what happens is when you give that integer a, okay, it's create a space here, okay, and we'll give the name as a. Okay, the space address should be there, right? And address will be there. Okay, now I have created a space for this variable and I didn't assign any value. In that space I didn't store any value here. Okay, whenever I have given that a equals to 10 or 20, now this is the space to, this is the space of a, and in this space the 20 value will be stored. 20 value will be there and address will be here. So what a will hold? A will hold the address of the value. Okay, now let's say that it's this address is xyz. Okay, now this variable will hold the xyz. Okay, now once the default value is defined, the default value will be here. Later on that I have given the a equals to 50. Okay, now what will it will happen? Now the a will check that what is the address of this. This will go to the xyz and remove the 20 and put the 50 back. Okay, this is how the variables will work here. Okay, that is assignment operator. Okay, and then this is called as comparison operators. Comparing means you have to check that whether it is equals or not, whether it is greater than or equals, like that. Okay, so let's see that assignment operators. Okay, now here I have age equals to 20. What I'm trying to is, age is 30, it means it is overridden. What happens if I put plus? Okay, what happens if you put plus? Okay, let me give very better example. Age plus 30. We can use like this, you don't need to worry. And in this case, what happens? First, it takes 20, it executes till third statement, then it comes to age. What happens? First, it calculates from right to left. Here, first 30 plus age. What was the value of age here? 20. 20 plus 30. What is the value? 50. Now, the 50 value will be stored in the age. That is called as this operator. You just check that, or '50. Okay, and now what happens? So the same way I'm putting here plus. This is also same functionality. What happens with this? If you give age plus equals to 30, what happens is age plus 30, then store the resulted value into age. This is the meaning of this variable. Just see that. Okay, the same like you can put minus as well. If you put star also, that will be multiplied. Okay, if you divide, then it will be division. Okay, that's called as arithmetic operators. Okay, and ternary operators we'll see later. And we have seen that plus, minus, into this one you can do this. Mm-hmm. As equals to plus. If you want 2 equals or what? Here. See here, if you put before, what happens is, before assigning the value into these, it perform the operation. If you put after putting the value into this, then it performs this thing. Nice. Okay, that's it on that. Just a minute. How the thing, let's say that, so this is just executing our own programs here. If you want to create some classes and other things, how can we do that? How it will be executed? Okay, so whenever you try to create some classes and other things, this will be like this. How it will be? Architecture will be like this. So this is what we discussed just now. Okay, how the variables will be declared. Okay, so here, this is how the apex will be compared, another thing. Okay, first you need to create the class in the developer console, or whether it is in some different way as well. Okay, once it is created, when you are sending to the database, okay, when you are sending to the database, or let's say when you are saving that, you have to save that, right? When you save that, it goes to the apex compiler. Okay, once it is, let's say that I have control E, this is one. Let's try to execute this. It throws the error message. Found punctuation symbol or operator percentage that is not valid in apex. Okay, this percentage symbol is not valid in this apex. So this is how it is knowing that this symbol or this one or this one. Let's say that I remove this. Okay, now just try to execute. Unexpected token, this one. Okay, so line number 2 here, right? Even let's say remove this and try to execute. Variable does not exist, salary, because we have not declared this variable as of now, right? How it is knowing that? It's like a compiler. What's a compiler? Compiler means whatever the code you have written, it checks for the syntax errors and whether the declaration is correct or not. Let's say that so first data type, then salary, the variable name I have to give it. So in this case I am giving that my own data type. Let's say that I have test. This is not a valid data type, it has to test it, right? So when you click on this, invalid type text. Okay, so how it is coming to know that when you are executing or when you are saving this, okay, it goes to the compiler first. Compiler means checking for the errors. Okay, once it is compiled, if there are any errors, it's just come back to the here. Okay, so it throws the error message, it come back to the browser. Now here you have compiled it and you have changed the syntax and everything. Finally you just saved it, and again it checks for the compiler. It checks for the errors through the compiler, and once it is correct and all the syntax errors are covered and there are no syntax errors and it's valid code, then it stores into the database. Okay, because we are not storing our own classes or everything into our system. Let's say that you have created validation rule. If you create a validation rule and if there are any errors, it throws the error message, syntax errors or something, right? Once you have created with the exact syntax, and then when you click on the save button, if there are no syntax errors, then only it will be saved. Okay, when you are writing, when you are creating or updating a record, the validation rule will be fired based on that when it is the rule criteria is true, right? So how it will happen? When you are creating a record, then it fetch the all the validation rules related to that, and it validates that. Finally, it throws the error message if it is valid. Right? The same way, first compiler will check the errors and it stores into the database. Even validation rules are the same. When you are creating a validation rule, if errors are there, it throws into the browser again. We will see the error messages and we will correct them. Finally, if you click on save, then it will be saved into the database. The same way, this will be checked and then it will be stored into the database. And when you are using that Apex class in your program, then it fetch the same Apex class from the database and it runs in the system. Okay, this is how it will be available in this Apex. Okay, that's why I'm telling you, go to this Visual Force Apex developer guide and go through this data types and other things. You can get good knowledge on that. And I'm not going to give any material for